I think I really realized probably in my late teens that an attraction for women. I actually, kind of an embarrassing story. I read a story in Forum that an ex-boyfriend had, and found that I was really excited by it. That it just sounded something that sounded very different and sort of exotic to me. But I found that I kept turning back to it, and I kept reading this story, and I felt very, very confused by it. And having grown up in a very Christian family, I couldn't imagine ever acting on that or, trying to put myself in a situation of being with a woman. And I think even at that point, I thought if anything did happen, it would just be for an experience. I'd never known any gay couples. I couldn't have imagined that you could actually have a relationship that would be accepted by the public. I think at that time, certainly this was the early 80s, that it was a very dangerous thing. That's the way the media always portrayed it, is that it was a horrible, dangerous thing for to come out in public. And again, having never had the experience of being around any gay people, I think that it was just something that really frightened me. I grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska, which is the capital, and population maybe 150,000, so not a huge city, but in comparison to Los Angeles, certainly quite a small town. It's primarily Caucasian. I don't know to this day that they have a gay bar. As I was mentioning earlier, it probably is in a basement somewhere, with one dim light bulb and no sign on the entrance. So I would say, and it's very Christian. So I would say that there's probably not a lot of tolerance, certainly in what I had experienced. I would hope that things have changed over the last 20-some years. But certainly my experience was that, again, as I was saying earlier, that it didn't feel like it would be a safe thing. I actually married a man when I was 21, and got married for all the wrong reasons. And I think even at that point, as I had mentioned before, I was about 19 when I started to feel it. And I think it was one of those things like, this is probably the best I'm going to do. I'll get married now. And I think a big part of it for me is I wanted a family. I wanted to have children. So I made, I think it was a difficult decision, and it was a decision for all the wrong reasons. And to maybe in some ways suppress and cover up the fact that I was actually gay. So I had a very short-lived marriage. We were married for a year and a half. I had a series of bad relationships with men after that. And just found that very quickly that there was, that the sexual attraction wore off very, very quickly, and we became very good friends. And then I found out that, that one of the guys was actually closeted as well, and he was also gay. So we were great friends, and we loved to go to musicals and do things together. And it was, it was a cover-up for both of us. In my late 20s, and it was about meeting the right person for me. And again, even at that time, I thought, I started actually looking at online ads and asking friends to introduce me to other people, because I had exposure to I had gay friends at that point. And I was really at the point where I was still suppressing it, but it was really about meeting the right person for me. And I had, a very good first experience with my first girlfriend. I came out to my family when I was in my late 20s. I was about 28. The reaction from my brothers and sisters, I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters, was actually quite supportive. Not so much with my mother. Again, having grown up in a very, very Christian family, it was like she had always heard that, this was a horrible sin, and I think that a big part of it was she was really in fear for my life. Because again, her exposure to the media was the same as mine, and that's all she'd ever heard was about gay bashing, and and that you can't walk the streets. And literally the first thing she said to me was, you can't hold hands in public. That you can never show any sign of affection in public. She was really, truly frightened for me. And again, a lot of Christian suppression, and so it was difficult. And it took 10 years for her to really come around and accept it. And it was all about her having a bond with my current partner. My family's wonderfully accepting. It's like it's the same as if I were taking, oddly enough, I mean, certainly in the way that they react to me, it's as if I'm just taking my partner home. Man or woman, it doesn't seem to matter to them. So I feel really, really lucky in that regard. Gay. Gay, and very comfortably gay. And I wanted to add, when we were talking about earlier, as far as my comfort level with it, I think a lot of it has to do with where I live, because I'm in a community where it's highly accepted. I would say there are certain parts of the city where we're careful not to be too affectionate and hold hands. But I just don't even think about it. This is my life and this is my family. And I feel very fortunate to be able to be with the woman that I love and to have a beautiful family with her. And it's lovely. And I know it's not that way everywhere. I know that it's not accepted everywhere. So I feel very, very fortunate. I would say to live your truth in whatever way that you can, whether you can look for community support or you can find some support online. There are a lot of references online to get support, to find out information. Go to somebody that you truly trust and share your story, and to live your life. I wish that I had come out much earlier, because I know that I wasted many, many years, and I'm so happy now. I'm so happy.